Chevrolet Studio Annex. This is Time Out Over Time on the Time Out Over Time YouTube channel. I'm your host, Rick Arsenal. Please, first things first, if you haven't done so yet, get down there in the corner and smash that like and subscribe button. You'd be doing me a big favor. Thank you. Some Tigers news. They're back home tonight to take on the Mariners again. A little Red Wings news mixed in there, and Lion stuff, rather disconcerting news coming out of Ellen Park. But we'll get into all that in just a second. First things first. Time Out Over Time is sponsored in part. We got to get Mickey in here too. Let's start over again. Can't do anything without you, pal. Okay, amigo. Time Out Over Time is sponsored in part by Frank Beck Chevrolet at M99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville. And if it's time for a new-to-you vehicle, let the sales pros at Beck's help you choose the right vehicle, new or pre-owned. Beck's has the top selection in the tri-state area with over 200 vehicles in stock. Stop by and see for yourself, but when you're ready, ask for Russ McMorty, Chris Hodis, Danny Smith, Adam Schaefer, Blake Bryant, Cameron Mincio, Bob Flynn, or Peyton Lucas. And when it comes time to service that new-to-you vehicle, let the service pros at Beck's fix it. And they really can fix it. Any make, any model, Ford or domestic, Beck's can fix it. And if you have a bit of a crunch or fender bender, Beck's Body Shop can put it back together looking just as good as new. So for all your automotive needs, look no further than Frank Beck Chevrolet at M99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville at 517-849-2886 or on the web at frankbeckchevy.com. Come and experience the Frank Beck difference. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. In just a few minutes, as I have been doing a lot lately, I will be reminding you of a very special event, which is coming up in the not too distant future at Frank Beck Chevrolet. And like I said, we'll be talking a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. So don't go anywhere. Let's get the Red Wings out of the way first. Single season ticket sales for Red Wing games went on sale yesterday morning. Season tickets are all sold out. They have a waiting list on season tickets, and that's a little hard to fathom, I know, but it is what it is. There is a waiting list for Wing season tickets. Maybe it's the fact that they've got a whole year of Patrick Kane and Simon Edmondson. I don't know. I think they should. Doesn't mean they will, but I think they should make the playoffs this year. I think they'll be better. I think the defense is better, given the fact that they'll have Edmondson for a whole year. And I can see a point where he's paired back there at the blue line with Mo Snyder. That's very plausible. The home opener is October 10th against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Still no news yet on Mo Snyder or Lucas Raymond contract extensions as they approach the final year of the contracts. I'm not too concerned about it. I fully expect, obviously, something's going to get done. Knowing how Steve Eisenman operates, this is just the way he does things. So anyway, so it won't be, what have we got? About 2.5 weeks till they go to training camp in Traverse City. It's usually right around Labor Day. So where has the summer gone, huh? School here locally starts next Tuesday. So pretty much the summer's over. Unbelievable, really. Hard to believe. I guess, like they say, the older you get, the faster time goes. I don't know. Anyway, Tigers news. Kerry Carpenter is back off his rehab. He is in the lineup tonight against the Mariners as Tarek Skubal goes for his 14th win. I hope he gets it. Riley Green is also starting his rehab at Toledo tonight for the Mud Hens, so he can't be too far behind as far as getting back. So that's encouraging. Uh, as the Tigers are home for a 5-game homestand. If you look at the schedule, and that's a little bit confusing. 3 with the Mariners, and then 3 with the Yankees. Yankees Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. However, I'll be talking more about this on Thursday. The Sunday game is not at Comerica Park. It's the Little League Classic. The Tigers will still be the home team, but it will not be played at Comerica. It'll be played in Pennsylvania. They are playing this year, as I think I'm going to lose my mic here. They are playing this year in the Little League Classic on Sunday. So, and I think that should be, what is this, Tuesday? Yeah, if unless they're rained out or something, Derek Skubal should be pitching against the Yankees on Sunday. Going for his 15th win, right? Yeah, okay. Is that about it on the Tigers? Casey Mize, I don't think is too far from coming back. So they're starting to get some people back. I'd still like to see them, if they had a better bullpen. Yeah, they just coming off a 6-game road trip where they went 3-3, but they should have won all 6 games. They lost the 3 games. They lost all 3 of those games in the 9th inning, just like they did last Sunday here in Detroit. They should be working on an 8-game winning streak right now, but they're not. Anyway, that's so. By the way, it was nice to see too when the Tigers were in Seattle. Former Tiger broadcaster Rick Riz is still doing TV for the Mariners. He's in Detroit for the next 3 days, and that's good to see. He was only here for a couple of years, but I enjoyed listening to Rick Riz and Bob Rathman, both of them. Also, I noted too in San Francisco, John Miller. Surprised to hear that he's still doing Giant games on the radio yet. One of my all-time favorite broadcasters. Hall of Famer, John Miller. So, okay, is that it for baseball? I think so. And I'm going to remind you of this very special event at Frank Mick Chevrolet Saturday. Clear the throat here first. Hang on a second. Saturday, September the 14th. Very special day at Frank Mick Chevrolet. As they celebrate their 9th annual salute to first responders. And this year, there will be a special tribute to the Hillsdale County Sheriff's Department, and rightfully so. So bring the kids, let them get up close to emergency vehicles, meet police and firefighters, play games, and more. There will be a free lunch. You sign up for door prizes as we celebrate the area's first responders. Plus, there will be a poker run as well. Again, that's Saturday, September the 14th. Circle that, make an X on your calendar, whatever you got to do, put it in your phone, because I want to see you there. Andy and I and Chad are going to be broadcasting out there. You better come out there. You better stop by and say hello to us when we're out there too. Saturday, September the 14th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Frank Beck Chevrolet. Of course, on M99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville, or on the web at frankbeckchevy.com. Stop by and experience the Frank Beck difference. Saturday, September the 14th, from 10 to 2. If you're a college football junkie, you get out there at 10 in the morning, spend a couple hours with us out there before football even starts. You won't miss anything. Saturday, September the 14th, a very special day at Frank Beck Chevrolet as we honor our area's first responders, the 9th annual. What a wonderful event this is. kudos to Franklin and everybody else out there for sponsoring this great event. It's a wonderful event. Bring the kids, bring the family, everybody have a good time. I guarantee you it'll be a very fun-filled day at Frank Vic Chevrolet. We'll see you out there. You'll be there. Lion injuries are starting to mount up, but I want to pass this along to you in case you didn't see it. Former U of M quarterback J.J. McCarthy, pardon me, boy, has suffered a torn meniscus. I believe he had surgery this morning or is having it tomorrow morning. I'm not a doctor, but I am thinking, well, everybody heals differently. He wasn't going to beat out Sam Darnold for the starting spot anyway. So to start the season, it looks like it'll be Sam Darnold backed up by the incomparable Nick Mullins. We wish JJ a speedy recovery. He's young. When you're young, you heal better. He had been complaining for a while about a sore knee. They went in and did an MRI. And lo and behold, next thing you know, he's got a torn meniscus. Sorry to hear that. Like I said, he's young. I'm not a doctor. Someone said 2 to 6 weeks. I think that's the glass half full. I think more like 8 weeks, maybe a couple of months. Again, I'm not a doctor. Everybody heals differently, but so sorry to hear that. The Lions have signed, if you haven't heard, they have signed a backup quarterback, Jake Fromm, F-R-O-M-M. Had a pretty decent career at Georgia, University of Georgia. He has played both with the Giants and the Commanders. I don't think he has taken a snap for a couple of years now. I don't know how much playing time he's going to get Saturday in Kansas City. If he does get in there, he'll probably just be handing the ball off. It's hard to imagine him doing much passing. Just getting into camp now. So that means we'll probably see a steady diet of Jake Sutphill. It is what it is. Maybe he'll play better. Like I said, I was surprised they brought him back after last summer. I thought once he ripped his knee up last summer, we'd see the end of Jake Sutphill, but apparently not. So, Mr. Sutphill. Okay. Anyway, I think we'll see. He'll probably take 80 to 90% of the snaps on Saturday. I doubt. With the way the injuries are mounting up for the Lions, I doubt very much that they wouldn't dare put Jared Goff in a game. I don't see that really. I had a feature here too I was going to share with you on the Lion safety Brandon Joseph, but I think I'm going to save that until Thursday. Because I've had a couple other things come up since then. I want to remind you too of we'll go over the this Lion injury list, and then ESPN Sunday at 4:00 has a special documentary airing that I wanted to tell you about if you haven't heard about it by now. So let's get this out of the way first. As usual. Quality PC in downtown Hillsdale. Tim Lindley, your absolute best tech service guy in the area. Number one, numero uno. There is nobody better than this man when it comes to tech services, whatever it is. Computers, new or used, flat screen TVs, mounting, setup, programmed, internet providers, printers, new or used, anything. Tim is the guy you want to see at 37 Waldron Street in downtown Hillsdale at 517-610-5372. Anything. We are so blessed to have this man in our area. Not only that, he's one of the nicest men you will ever want to meet. So He and his wife, two of the nicest people I've ever met. So get in there and see Tim again. That's at the 517-610-5372, or better still at 37 Waldron Street in downtown Hillsdale. Get in there and see him. When you do, tell him me and Mickey sent you. Will you please? Thank you. By the way, too, if you were thinking about Ryan Tannehill, ex-Tennessee Titan quarterback, apparently the Lions tried calling him, but he had not returned their calls. I think he's waiting for somebody to get hurt. He doesn't want to be a backup. He wants to step in and be somebody's number one. I don't know if that on the advice of his agent or what, but anyway, that's what I'm hearing. So, Dan Campbell too sounded a little frustrated. Yesterday, we was talking to the press that none of these wide receivers yet has stepped forward and taken hold of this. Well, look, if the season started today, your three wide receivers would be St. Brown, Williams, and Khalif Raymond. And I don't know who the fourth wide receiver is yet, because Donovan Peoples-Jones, we keep thinking is getting close. No, Antoine Green got hurt. He's done. He may even be done with the Lions. Waiving him, if he clears waivers, they'll put him on the injured reserve. That's tough luck for him. Sorry to hear that, see that. Yeah, the injured reserve, but his season is over unless the Lions cut him with an injury settlement. Dan Campbell said this was the best for both sides to do it like this. So quickly, this injury list that keeps mounting. There we go. Jahmyr Gibbs, hamstring. Terrion Arnold, hamstring. Ennis Rakestraw, ankle. Hendon Hooker, concussion. Sam Laporta, hamstring. James Houston, I don't know the extent of his injury. By the way, Houston covering receivers or tight ends now. That experiment's all done. Lions tried to make a cover linebacker out of him, and when they realized it wasn't going to work, they said, that's it. You're just going to go back to rushing the quarterback. Thank God they gave that up. So, let the guy do something that he excels at exclusively, and apparently that's what they're going to do. And he's hurt. I don't know the extent of the injury. David Bada, an Achilles, he's done for the year. Lee McNeil, nobody's saying anything about him. He hasn't been at practice the last several days. I don't know where that's at. That's disconcerting because we're not even sure if DJ Reader is going to be running for the opener. I don't know. Darren Gilbert, Malcolm Rodriguez, Carlton Davis, Maurice Norris, and not to mention, like I say, DJ Reader hasn't played. Kevin Zeitler hadn't played. This isn't good, folks. Dan Campbell is scheduled to speak tomorrow morning on the ticket. Pardon me, to Jim Costa and Mike Stone at 8:30. So maybe we'll get a better idea where we're at with some of these injuries. But I've got to believe if there was anything serious, Adam Schefter of ESPN would have given us a report on that by now. So we've heard nothing about that. So keep your fingers crossed. If Schefter hadn't come up with anything, I'm assuming it can't be too serious with any of these guys. Hang on, before I tell you about this documentary on ESPN, hang on just a second. Sunday at 4 o'clock on ESPN, a very special documentary called 28 Outs, an Imperfect Game. Covering the June 2nd. Let's go back to June 2nd of 2010. The night that Armando Galarraga did something no pitcher had ever done before and will ever do again. Pitched a 28-out perfect game. I remember this so distinctly because Andy and I, and at the time he was part of our team, James Gensterbloom, were at the game the night before. Little did we know what was going to transpire there 24 hours later. But James was part of our team at that time. He's currently the SID at Hillsdale College and doing a very fine job there. So you want an update on James, that's where he is right now. But it's called 28 outs, an imperfect game with interviews with Galarraga himself. Wow, that was rough. Of course, if it would have happened now, a replay would have overturned the call. But they did have replay back then, but that's how we found out the game, the call wasn't even close. Some of this, too, I blame that on the commissioner of baseball back then. Bud Selig was probably the worst commissioner baseball's ever had. He could have smoothed things over the next day by coming out and awarding a perfect game. And he had the power to do awarding a perfect game to Galarraga. Repeating what I just said, congratulations to Armando Galarraga. He did something last night no one has ever done before and will ever do again. He pitched a 28-out perfect game. In fact, he should be in the Hall of Fame for that. So should Jim Joyce. Jim Joyce was a very good umpire in his 30 years doing what he did. But he's a human being. We all make mistakes. And that's what Bud Selig could have said the next day. Don't blame Jim Joyce. We all make mistakes. He simply missed a call. And when he saw the replay and realized what he had done, no one felt any worse about this than Jim Joyce did. It was the shortest game in, I believe, in big league history, an hour and 36 minutes. Galarraga, 88 pitches, 67 strikes. So there's an interview in this documentary with Galarraga, who gives a lot of credit to his father for teaching him how to respect other human beings, people that he dealt with. I'm looking forward to seeing this. Jim Joyce, by the way, got his 30 years in, and he retired after the 2016 season. His retirement was announced February 25th of 2017. But Jim Joyce is retired, collecting his pension. And just give you a quote. I remember talking at the time. I remember emailing. I was doing a lot of emailing at the time with Lynn Henning, who at that time was the Tiger, one of the Tiger beat reporters with the Detroit News. And Lynn told me the look after the game on Jim Joyce's face down in the locker room was horrific. He was white. He looked as if he had just witnessed a bad accident. The man, and he was crying. The man obviously felt very bad about what he had done. I felt sorry for Jim Joyce. Next day, he was the home plate umpire. And to Jim Leland's credit, he let Galarraga take out the lineup cards. And when he got to home plate, he gave Jim Joyce a big hug. Joyce looked to the Tiger dugout, saluted them. Mike Ilitch, who was the Tiger owner at the time, awarded Galarraga anyway the next day with a brand new Corvette convertible. And like I said, he did something no pitcher's ever done and will never do again. He pitched a 28-out perfect game. But after the game, Joyce spoke with Galarraga and apologized profusely after recognizing that he had made a bad call. Quote, "I can't even explain the feeling because there are no words. It's almost worse than my dad's death. That's how bad I felt." He was quoted saying by ESPN. That was on March the 24th of last year. as I said, we were just there the night before. Who would have thought what was going to transpire there 24 hours later? But it sounds like a must ESPN documentary, 4 o'clock Sunday, 28 outs, an imperfect story. The story of the Armando Galarraga 28 out perfect game. By the way, the Jason Donald was the batter who hit that little dribbler down to Miggy at first base, who shoveled it to Galarraga. The replay showed obviously it was plenty of time for the out. But you could see that the angle that Joyce was standing kind of on the first baseline. I can see how where he was standing, he could have missed the call. He should have been out toward second base more and had a better angle on that. But he didn't. He called him safe. But Bud Selig could have smoothed things over the next day, and he did. I think Bud Selig was one of the worst commissioner ever in baseball history. Probably even worse than the Kennesaw Mountain Landis, who was a racist. That's why you had the Negro Leagues. There were no black players playing in baseball back then when they should have been. And if they were playing then, you wonder how that would have changed the game. But that's another story for another time. Don't forget, I'll remind you about that on Thursday then. A special documentary, ESPN, 4 o'clock Sunday. I do not get ESPN, so I will have to watch it hopefully Sunday night on YouTube. No, anyway, that's going to do it for now. Don't forget the Time Out Show every Saturday morning here locally on WCSR 92.1 FM with Andy and Jed. And I will talk to you again on Thursday. So till then, remember, please treat each other with respect and have a good evening.